Dr. Julie Smith. Why has nobody told me this before? Synopsis with key lessons and insights. Why has nobody told me this before? Is the debut book by Dr. Julie Smith, a clinical psychologist known for her accessible mental health advice. The book is a practical, compassionate guide to understanding your mind and nurturing your mental health, packed with actionable strategies for everyday challenges. Dr. Smith's approach is warm and relatable, making complex psychological concepts easy to understand. The book is structured in short, digestible chapters, so readers can quickly find advice for whatever they're facing, whether it's anxiety, low mood, stress, or self-doubt. Key themes and practical advice. Calm and soothe yourself. When distressed, Dr. Smith suggests using calming and soothing music to help regulate your emotions. Calm and soothe yourself. The power of music in emotional regulation. Imagine you're having a tough day. Your mind is racing, your heart is pounding, and emotions feel overwhelming. Dr. Julie Smith, in her book Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, offers a simple yet powerful tip. Use calming and soothing music to help regulate your emotions. But why does this work? Let's explore the science, stories, and even ancient wisdom behind this advice. The science: how music calms the mind. Modern research has shown that music can have a profound effect on our brains and bodies. Reduces stress. A study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that listening to relaxing music before a stressful event can lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Improves mood. According to a 2013 review in Trends in Cognitive Sciences, music activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine, the feel-good chemical. Regulates heart rate and breathing. Research from Stanford University found that slow, steady music can synchronize with your heartbeat and breathing, naturally slowing them down and promoting calm. Real-life tale: the healing power of song. Consider the story of a nurse in a busy hospital who played soft classical music during night shifts. Patients reported sleeping better and feeling less anxious. One elderly patient, who struggled with pain and insomnia, began requesting her favorite lullabies every night. Over time, her need for pain medication decreased and her mood improved, simply from the comfort of music. Vedic wisdom: ancient roots of musical healing. The calming power of music isn't just modern science, it's ancient wisdom. The sages believed that certain ragas, musical modes, could balance the mind and body, much like a gentle rain soothes the earth. The story of Tansen, a legendary musician in Emperor Akbar's court, tells how his music could light lamps, bring rain, or calm wild animals, testament to the belief in music's transformative power. Notable studies. Mozart effect. A famous study suggested that listening to Mozart's music could temporarily boost spatial reasoning skills and reduce anxiety. Music therapy for anxiety. A 2020 meta-analysis in The Lancet Psychiatry found that music therapy significantly reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression across diverse groups. How to use music for calm. Choose wisely. Pick music that feels soothing to you: classical, ambient, nature sounds, or gentle chants. Create rituals. Play calming music during stressful times, like before sleep, during meditation, or when you feel overwhelmed. Tune in. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the music wash over you. Notice how your body responds. In our modern, fast-paced world, it's easy to forget simple tools for self-care. Dr. Smith's advice is both timeless and timely. Let music be your companion in moments of distress. Whether you find solace in a raga, a gentle piano piece, or the sound of rain, let it remind you, calm is always within reach. Self-compassion. Instead of beating yourself up during tough times, she encourages you to be your best coach, not your worst critic. You've made a mistake at work or failed an exam. What's the first thing you say to yourself? For many, it's harsh criticism. "I'm so stupid," or "I'll never get this right." Dr. Julie Smith, in her book Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, urges us to break this cycle. Instead of being your own harshest critic, she suggests you become your best coach, offering encouragement, understanding, and support. Let's explore why this matters. what research says, and how ancient wisdom echoes this message. The science of self-compassion. What is self-compassion? It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a good friend in a tough moment. Key research findings. Dr. Kristen Neff studies. Dr. Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion research, found that people who practice self-compassion are less anxious and depressed and more resilient in the face of setbacks. Brain imaging. Studies using MRI scans show that self-compassion activates areas of the brain linked to emotional regulation and positive feelings, while harsh self-criticism lights up regions associated with pain and threat. Performance and motivation. Contrary to the myth that self-criticism drives success, research in personality and social psychology bulletin shows that self-compassionate people are more motivated to improve after failure because they aren't paralyzed by shame. A tale from today, the power of a gentle voice. Consider the story of Serena Williams, the tennis legend. After a tough loss, she once shared that she talks to herself kindly, reminding herself of her strengths and encouraging herself to keep going. This self-coaching approach has helped her bounce back from defeat and stay at the top of her game. The concept of Atma Bhavana, compassion for oneself, was seen as essential for spiritual growth. The story of Sage Valmiki, who transformed from a feared bandit into a revered poet, teaches us that self-forgiveness and kindness can lead to profound personal change. By turning his harsh self-judgment into self-understanding, Valmiki unlocked his true potential. A 2012 study in health psychology found that self-compassionate people recover faster from stress and have stronger immune systems. Workplace success. Research published in Harvard Business Review shows that leaders who practice self-compassion are more effective, make better decisions, and foster more supportive teams. How to practice self-compassion. Notice your self-talk. When you catch yourself being self-critical, pause. Would you say those words to a friend? Reframe the message. Replace harsh words with encouragement. It's okay to make mistakes. I can learn from this. Practice mindfulness. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment. This helps you move forward instead of getting stuck in self-blame. Use the best coach voice. Imagine the most supportive coach you've ever had. What would they say to you right now? In our fast-paced, achievement-driven world, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism. But science and ancient wisdom agree. Kindness to yourself isn't weakness. It's the foundation of growth, resilience, and true success. So next time you stumble, remember, be your best coach, not your worst critic. The journey to greatness starts with a gentle word to yourself. Small steps matter. When your mood is low, even small tasks can feel overwhelming. Dr. Smith reminds us that taking tiny steps forward is still progress. When your mood is heavy and motivation seems out of reach, even simple tasks, like making your bed or brushing your teeth, can feel like climbing a mountain. Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, gently reminds us, taking tiny steps forward is still progress. Let's explore why this works, what science says, and here's some inspiring tales. The science. Why small steps work. 1. Behavioral activation. Research in psychology shows that when we're feeling low or stuck, waiting for motivation to strike rarely works. Instead, taking action, no matter how small, can spark positive feelings. This approach is called behavioral activation and is a proven therapy for depression. A 2017 review in World Psychiatry found that behavioral activation is just as effective as medication for many people with depression. The magic? Start with the smallest, most doable task. 2. The domino effect. Stanford researcher Dr. B.J. Fogg describes how tiny habits create a domino effect. When you complete one small task, you build momentum for the next. This is how making your bed can lead to tidying your room, then maybe stepping outside for fresh air. The 1% rule. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, tells the story of the British cycling team. For years, they were mediocre. Then, they focused on making tiny improvements, just 1% better each day. Over time, these small gains added up, and the team went on to win multiple Olympic gold medals. The lesson? Small steps, consistently taken, lead to big results. Real-life example. 1 spoon at a time. A young woman battling depression shared her story online. On her darkest days, she couldn't face cleaning her entire kitchen. So she started with 1 spoon. Just one. Some days, that was all she could do. But over time, the spoons added up, and so did her sense of achievement. Each tiny victory built her confidence to do a little more. Kaizen philosophy. In Japanese business, Kaizen means continuous improvement through small, incremental steps. This philosophy transformed Toyota into a global leader, proving that tiny changes, repeated daily, can revolutionize lives and organizations. Studies in the Journal of Applied Psychology show that breaking big goals into small, manageable tasks increases the likelihood of success and reduces overwhelm. How to start with small steps. Pick the easiest task. On tough days, choose something so simple it feels almost silly, like drinking a glass of water or standing up and stretching. Celebrate every win. Give yourself credit for each step, no matter how small. Progress is progress. Build momentum. Let each tiny action be a stepping stone. Over time, these steps add up to meaningful change. When life feels overwhelming, remember, you don't have to climb the whole mountain today. Just take the next small step. Every little action is a victory over inertia, a sign of your resilience, and a spark of hope for brighter days ahead. So, what's your next tiny step? Take it. You're moving forward, one small win at a time. The story of the determined sparrow. A lesser-known tale from Indian mythology speaks of a small sparrow whose eggs were swept away by the ocean waves. Distraught but unwavering, the sparrow began pecking at the water, attempting to empty the ocean. The mighty Garuda, Vishnu's celestial eagle, was moved by her dedication and eventually intervened, returning her eggs. The lesson? Consistency and effort can summon unexpected support and success. Modern research. The psychology of tiny steps. In behavioral science, psychologist Dr. B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits method highlights how small, manageable steps can build lasting habits. His research shows that the easiest way to spark change is through microactions, rather than overwhelming ourselves with big leaps. Bridging ancient and modern thought. Much like the sparrow's unwavering commitment, modern studies suggest that starting with one simple action, getting out of bed, drinking water, or writing a single sentence, can be enough to ignite motivation. The fusion of ancient perseverance and modern habit formation tells us big victories begin with small, deliberate choices. Physical well-being. Anxious thoughts can impact your appetite and energy. She highlights that exercise, even a short walk, can significantly improve your mood. Physical well-being. How moving your body lifts your mood. When anxious thoughts swirl in your mind, you might notice your appetite fading or your energy draining away. Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, reminds us that even a short walk or a bit of movement can work wonders for your mood. This isn't just good advice, it's backed by science, modern stories, and echoes of wisdom from the past. The science. Exercise as a mood booster. Endorphin effect. Exercise triggers the release of endorphins, natural chemicals in the brain that act like feel-good messengers. These endorphins help reduce pain, boost pleasure, and create a sense of well-being. Stress reduction. A major review in the American Journal of Psychiatry, 2018, found that people who engaged in regular physical activity had significantly lower rates of depression and anxiety. Even light activities like walking made a difference. Energy and appetite. Studies show that movement helps regulate appetite hormones and increases energy levels, counteracting the fatigue and loss of appetite that often come with anxiety. Modern tale. The power of a 10-minute walk. A college student, overwhelmed by exams and deadlines, started taking a brisk 10-minute walk every morning. She found that these short walks cleared her mind, eased her worries, and gave her the energy to tackle her day. Over time, this simple habit became her anchor, a small act that kept her grounded and hopeful, even during stressful times. Green exercise. Research from the University of Essex found that exercising in nature, even for just 5 minutes, has an even greater impact on mood and self-esteem than indoor workouts. Movement and the mind. Harvard Medical School reports that regular exercise can be as effective as antidepressant medication for some people, especially those with mild to moderate depression. Lord Shiva's cosmic dance, Natraja, symbolizes the power of movement to transform chaos into harmony. Ancient yogis believed that moving the body through dance, yoga, or simple walking could calm the mind and restore balance. This wisdom lives on today, reminding us that movement is medicine for both body and soul. How to harness the power of movement. Start small. If you're feeling low, aim for just a few minutes of movement, stretching, walking, or gentle yoga. Make it enjoyable. Listen to music, walk with a friend, or explore a nearby park to make movement something you look forward to. Notice the shift. Pay attention to how you feel after moving. Even a little exercise can bring a sense of relief and renewed energy. When anxious thoughts weigh you down, remember, you don't need a gym or fancy equipment to feel better. A simple walk, a stretch, or a dance in your living room can lift your spirits and restore your strength. Every step is a powerful act of self-care, a reminder that movement connects your body and mind, bringing light to even the darkest days. Managing perfectionism. Words like must and should can create unnecessary pressure. She encourages flexibility and self-kindness. You're working on a project and your inner voice keeps saying, "I must get this perfect," or "I should never make mistakes." The pressure builds, stress rises, and suddenly, even starting feels overwhelming. Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, teaches that these rigid words, must and should, often fuel perfectionism and self-criticism. Instead, she encourages us to embrace flexibility and self-kindness. Perfectionism and mental health. Studies published in Psychological Bulletin show that perfectionism is linked to higher levels of anxiety, depression, and burnout. The relentless pursuit of flawlessness can leave people feeling never good enough. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT research highlights that replacing must and should statements with gentler language, "I'd like to," "It's okay if I don't," reduces stress and builds resilience. Flexibility in thinking is a key to emotional well-being. The artist's canvas. A young artist spent years paralyzed by perfectionism. Every painting had to be flawless, so most canvases ended up unfinished, hidden in a closet. One day, a mentor advised her, "Let yourself make bad art. Enjoy the process, not just the outcome." She started painting freely, making mistakes on purpose. Not only did her creativity blossom, but her joy returned. By letting go of must and should, she found freedom in imperfection. Stanford's study on self-compassion. Research from Stanford University found that people who replace perfectionistic self-talk with self-compassion are more likely to try new things, recover from setbacks, and feel happier overall. Workplace success. A Harvard Business Review article revealed that teams which value flexibility and learning from mistakes outperform those obsessed with perfection. Vedic tale, the weaver and the broken thread. In an ancient Vedic story, a master weaver was known for his beautiful, flawless fabrics. One day, a thread snapped, leaving a tiny flaw. The apprentice panicked, but the master smiled and said, "Perfection is the enemy of creation. This flaw is the mark of the human hand." The cloth, with its small imperfection, became the most cherished piece in the village, reminding everyone that beauty lies in embracing our humanity. How to manage perfectionism. Notice your language. When you hear must or should, pause. Ask yourself if it's really necessary or if you can be more flexible. Practice self-kindness. Treat yourself as you would a friend. Acknowledge effort, not just outcomes. Celebrate imperfection. Remember, mistakes are proof you're trying, learning, and growing. In a world obsessed with perfection, dare to be gentle with yourself. Let go of the musts and shoulds. Embrace the freedom to learn, to try, and to be wonderfully, beautifully imperfect. Each step you take with self-kindness is a masterpiece in the making. So, next time you feel the pressure to be perfect, remember the weaver's wisdom. Sometimes, the flaw is what makes your story truly special. Handling anger and pain. Intense emotions like anger and fear are normal. Physical movement, such as stretching or walking, can help lessen their intensity. To make her advice practical, Dr. Smith shares powerful stories and metaphors, such as handling anger and pain just as a storm passes. Intense emotions can lose their grip when we engage in movement and mindful action. Research shows walking reduces cortisol, helping us process emotions better. Building confidence. Much like the Vedic tale of Arjuna's hesitation before battle, uncertainty stems from inner self-doubt, but small steps can build momentum, just as Arjuna did when guided by Krishna. Overcoming anxiety. Studies reveal that the brain's fear circuits weaken when exposed to gradual, controlled discomfort, echoing the ancient principle of abhyasa, repeated practice, in overcoming challenges. Dr. Smith urges readers to trust the process. Mental health isn't about sudden breakthroughs, but consistent, small efforts. Echoing modern findings in habit formation, James Clear's Atomic Habits, she reinforces how tiny behaviors shape long-term outcomes. Sustainable change. Dr. Smith emphasizes that slow, steady change is the most sustainable path to lasting improvement. Sustainable change. The power of slow and steady progress. Imagine wanting to transform your life, maybe by getting healthier, learning a new skill, or building a creative habit. It's tempting to dive in with big, dramatic changes, but Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, reminds us, lasting improvement comes from slow, steady change. Let's see why this works, what science says, and how stories old and new bring this wisdom to life. The science, why slow change lasts. The small wins principle. Research in the Harvard Business Review shows that breaking goals into small, manageable steps and celebrating each small win builds momentum and motivation. This approach is far more effective for long-term success than trying to overhaul everything at once. Habit formation. A 2009 study in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit, not 21, as the myth goes. Consistency, not speed, is key. Behavioral economics. Studies show that gradual change helps the brain adjust, making new behaviors feel less overwhelming and more likely to stick. The marathoner's journey. A novice runner set a goal to complete a marathon, but instead of running miles on day one, she started with a single block. Each week, she added just a little more distance. Over months, her strength and confidence grew. When race day arrived, she finished with a smile, proof that slow, steady steps can lead to extraordinary achievements. Weight loss and maintenance. Research from the National Weight Control Registry found that people who lost weight gradually were far more likely to keep it off than those who lost it quickly. Learning and mastery. Studies in education reveal that students who pace their learning and review material over time retain knowledge better than those who cram. The ant and the mountain. In a classic story, an ant dreams of moving a mountain. Each day, she carries away a single grain of sand. The other animals laugh, but she persists, undeterred by the enormity of the task. Over time, her dedication inspires others, and together, they move the mountain, one grain at a time. The tale teaches us that steadfast effort, however small, leads to great change. How to embrace sustainable change. Start small. Pick one tiny action you can repeat daily, like drinking a glass of water, writing one sentence, or stretching for 5 minutes. Be patient. Trust the process. Progress may be slow, but it's building a foundation for lasting change. Celebrate consistency. Give yourself credit for showing up, even when the steps seem small. In a world of quick fixes and instant results, slow growth can feel frustrating. But remember, real transformation is a marathon, not a sprint. Each small, steady step is a promise to your future self, a quiet act of courage that, over time, becomes unstoppable momentum. Parenting and values. When raising children, she advises behaving according to your values, as children learn most from what they observe. Parenting and values. Children learn what they see. Imagine a parent telling their child to be honest, But then the child sees the parent lying on the phone. Which lesson sticks? Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, emphasizes a timeless truth. Children learn most from what they observe, not just what they're told. When raising kids, acting in line with your values is the most powerful lesson you can give. Psychologist Albert Bandura's famous studies showed that children imitate the behaviors they see in adults, especially parents. In his Bobo doll experiment, kids who watched adults act aggressively toward a toy were much more likely to do the same. Values transmission. Research in the Journal of Moral Education found that children whose parents consistently modeled values like kindness, honesty, and perseverance were more likely to develop those traits themselves. Long-term impact. Studies show that children raised in value-driven homes have higher self-esteem, better emotional regulation, and stronger relationships as adults. Modern tale. The ripple effect. A father wanted his daughter to be generous, so every weekend, he volunteered at a local shelter and brought her along. She watched him greet people warmly and help without expecting anything in return. Years later, as a college student, she organized food drives and inspired her friends to join. His actions had become her values, rippling out into the world. Parental consistency. Research from Harvard University highlights that children are more likely to internalize values when parents' actions match their words. Emotional intelligence. A study in child development found that children whose parents model empathy and self-control are better at managing their own emotions and relationships. A sage was asked how to teach children honesty. Instead of giving a lecture, he simply lived with unwavering truthfulness. The children in the village, observing his every action, began to mirror his honesty in their own lives. The lesson: values are caught, not just taught. Overcoming anxiety. Much like the sage Markandeya's battle with destiny, fear fades when faced directly, an idea reinforced in exposure therapy studies. How to raise value-driven children. Walk the talk. Let your actions reflect the values you want your child to learn, whether it's kindness, honesty, or gratitude. Acknowledge mistakes. If you slip up, admit it. Showing humility teaches children that learning and growth are lifelong journeys. Create rituals. Family routines, like sharing what you're grateful for at dinner or volunteering together, make values part of daily life. In a fast-changing world, the lessons you live are the ones your children remember. Be the example you wish for them. Every act of integrity, kindness, and courage plants a seed that grows in their hearts and shapes the next generation. So, let your values shine in your actions. Your children are watching and learning how to build a better world, one choice at a time. Deepening self-understanding. Dr. Smith encourages readers to identify your values, reflect on who you want to be, and analyze if your actions align with those values. Identify your values. Living in alignment with what matters most. Imagine standing at a crossroads in life, unsure which path to take. Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, suggests that the best compass is your own set of values. By reflecting on who you want to be and checking if your actions match those ideals, you can find direction, meaning, and peace, even in uncertain times. Guidance and resilience. Research in the Journal of Positive Psychology shows that people who clarify their values and strive to live by them experience greater well-being, resilience, and life satisfaction. Motivation and fulfillment. A study published in Motivation and Emotion found that value-driven individuals are more motivated and persistent, even when facing obstacles, because their actions feel purposeful. Mental health benefits. Acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, a modern psychological approach, uses values clarification as a core tool. Studies reveal that connecting with personal values reduces anxiety and depression by helping people focus on what truly matters. The entrepreneur's pivot. A young entrepreneur launched a startup to make quick profits, but soon felt unfulfilled. After reflecting, she realized her true value was helping others. She shifted her business to focus on social impact, aligning her actions with her values. Not only did her happiness soar, but her business thrived because her work now had meaning, values, and health. Research in health psychology found that people who write about their core values before stressful events show lower stress responses and better health outcomes. Workplace success. A Harvard Business Review article notes that employees who feel their work aligns with their values are more engaged and less likely to burn out. A master archer teaches his students to focus not on the whole tree, but on the eye of the bird perched atop it. Only when their aim aligns perfectly with their intention do they succeed. The lesson: clarity of values sharpens your focus and guides your actions to hit the mark in life. How to identify and live your values. Reflect deeply. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Who do I admire and why? What do I want to stand for? Check your compass. Regularly compare your actions with your values. Are you living as the person you want to be? Course correct. If you stray from your values, gently steer yourself back. Growth is a journey, not a straight line. In a noisy world full of distractions, your values are your inner lighthouse. Let them guide your choices, big and small. When your actions reflect your deepest beliefs, you create a life of authenticity, purpose, and joy. So, pause and ask, what do I value most? Let your answer shape your next step, and watch your life align with what matters most to you. Name your emotions. Instead of a blanket label like sad, dig deeper. Are you bored, anxious, or frustrated? This helps in understanding and addressing the real issue. Name your emotions. The power of precision. When something feels off inside, it's easy to just say, I'm sad. But Dr. Julie Smith, in Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, invites us to pause and look closer. Are you truly sad? Or is it boredom, anxiety, frustration, or maybe loneliness? Naming your emotions with precision is a small act that can lead to big changes in how you cope and heal. Emotional granularity. Research in psychological science shows that people who can identify and label their emotions in detail, what psychologists call emotional granularity, have better mental health and resilience. They're less likely to be overwhelmed by their feelings and more likely to find effective solutions. Brain benefits. A UCLA study found that simply labeling an emotion reduces activity in the brain's fear center, the amygdala, and increases activity in areas responsible for self-control. In other words, naming your feelings helps you feel calmer and more in control. Therapy techniques. Modern therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, and dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, use emotion labeling as a core tool. Clients learn to identify exactly what they're feeling, which is the first step to managing those emotions constructively. A student dreaded exams, always saying, I'm stressed. With her counselor's help, she dug deeper and realized her stress was actually a mix of fear, of failing, frustration, and not understanding some topics, and embarrassment about asking for help. Once she named each feeling, she could tackle them one by one, studying more, seeking support, and practicing self-compassion. Her anxiety lessened, and her grades improved. Feelings vocabulary. Studies show that children who learn a wide range of emotion words, disappointed, nervous, hopeful, are better at managing their feelings and have fewer behavioral problems. Adult well-being. Adults who practice emotion labeling report lower levels of anger and sadness and higher satisfaction with life. A sage sits by a lotus pond, teaching his students to watch each ripple. If you call every ripple a storm, you'll live in fear, he says. But if you learn their names, gentle breeze, pebble splash, falling leaf, you'll know which ones matter. The lesson: naming what you feel brings clarity and peace, just as naming the ripples calms the mind. In a world that moves fast, vague feelings can leave us lost. But when you pause and name your emotions, you reclaim power over your inner world. Clarity is the first step to healing. Just as warriors in epic tales cultivate mental strength, modern studies suggest self-awareness and emotional labeling enhance adaptability. Journaling. Writing down negative emotions can help you make sense of them and spot patterns. Let feelings flow. Rather than trying to stop negative feelings, let them flow through you while exploring what they are and where they come from. This acceptance can lead to clarity and relief. Her advice is rooted in the belief that understanding how your mind works gives you the power to nurture your mental health every day. She inspires readers to reach inside themselves for clarity, relief, and resolve. 6 key lessons from the book. Square breathing. This is a simple breathing technique to calm anxiety. Imagine drawing a square with your breath. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Repeat several times. It helps reset your nervous system and brings a sense of calm. Tame your monkey mind. The mind can be restless and jump from thought to thought, like a monkey swinging from tree to tree. Dr. Smith teaches mindfulness techniques to gently redirect your focus and quiet mental chatter, making it easier to manage stress and stay present. Practice gratitude. Focusing on what you're thankful for, even small things, can shift your mindset and improve your mood. Dr. Smith suggests writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day to build resilience and positivity. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Progress is more important than perfection. Recognize and celebrate small wins, even if they seem minor. This helps build motivation and self-confidence over time. Relaxation for better sleep. If you struggle to fall asleep, try relaxation techniques like progressive muscle relaxation or gentle breathing exercises. Creating a calming bedtime routine can help signal to your body that it's time to rest. Seek out awe. Experiencing awe by watching a sunrise, listening to beautiful music, or marveling at nature can help reduce stress and put your problems in perspective. Dr. Smith encourages seeking out moments of awe to boost your well-being.